The delegation from the Centauri Science Academy materialized on Earth's surface with characteristic precision, their environmental suits adjusting instantly to the planet's atmosphere. Lead researcher NX-427, a tall, crystalline being with shifting iridescent patterns across their surface, consulted their datapad with all 6 appendages moving in perfect synchronization. Reminder to all research personnel, NX-427's thoughts resonated through their shared communication field. We are here to observe and document the inexplicable phenomenon of human-animal bonding. The Council particularly wants to understand their attachment to creatures called dogs. Remember, no interference. The research team spread out across the designated observation zone, a bustling city park on a warm autumn morning. Their cloaking fields kept them hidden from human sight, though their instruments indicated that some of the 4-legged creatures could sense their presence, occasionally turning their heads toward the invisible observers. Junior researcher VZ-891, barely a century old and on their first off-world assignment, found themselves drawn to a particular human-canine pair. The human female wore a dark blue uniform, and beside her walked a magnificent specimen of what their database identified as a German Shepherd. The dog moved with purposeful grace, its alert eyes scanning the environment continuously. Officer Maya Rodriguez, VZ-891 scanner provided. K-9 Unit, Metropolitan Police Department. K-9 Partner, Atlas. Maya and Atlas patrolled the park's perimeter with practiced ease. The bond between them was immediately apparent, they moved in perfect synchronization, each aware of the other's presence without needing to look. This wasn't the mindless obedience of a trained animal, it was something deeper, more profound. VZ-891 edged closer, their scientific curiosity overwhelming their caution. The dog's ears twitched, and it turned its head directly toward the cloaked researcher. Maya noticed her partner's attention shift and followed his gaze, her hand resting casually on Atlas's head. "What is it, boy?" she asked softly. Atlas remained focused but relaxed, his tail wagging slightly. The moment was interrupted by a commotion near the park's central fountain. A man was shouting, his movements erratic and threatening. Before any of the alien observers could process what was happening, Maya and Atlas were already moving toward the disturbance. "Sir, please step back from the fountain," Maya called out, her voice firm but calm. Atlas positioned himself slightly ahead of her, alert but not aggressive. The man whirled around, his eyes wild. "They're coming. Can't you see them? The lights in the sky." He gestured frantically toward the morning sun. VZ-891 noted with fascination how Atlas responded not just to the man's threatening posture but to subtle changes in Maya's body language. The dog adjusted his position microscopically with each shift in the situation, maintaining optimal protective positioning while remaining non-threatening. "I understand you're scared," Maya said, slowly closing the distance. "Let's talk about what you're seeing." "Atlas, stay." The dog held his position, but his muscles were coiled with potential energy. The alien researcher's instruments recorded everything, his elevated heart rate, the subtle changes in his hormone levels, the way his sensory focus shifted between the agitated man and his human partner. The situation escalated when the man suddenly reached into his jacket. Atlas moved before anyone could blink, not to attack, but to place himself firmly between the threat and Maya. His presence alone made the man hesitate, and in that crucial moment, Maya was able to take control of the situation. Within minutes, the man was safely in custody, accepting Maya's offer of medical assistance. Atlas remained vigilant until the moment the man was led away by medical personnel, then immediately returned to his normal, alert but relaxed state. "Unprecedented," NX-427 communicated to the research team. The canine demonstrated threat assessment, strategic positioning, and protective behavior without aggressive action. This goes beyond simple training. VZ-891 couldn't take their sensors off Maya and Atlas as the pair resumed their patrol. The human knelt beside her partner, rewarding him with quiet praise and gentle scratches behind his ears. Atlas's entire demeanor softened in response to her attention, though he maintained his environmental awareness. The emotional exchange serves no practical purpose, noted another researcher. Doesn't it? VZ891 questioned. Look at their biochemical readings. Both human and canine show elevated levels of bonding hormones. Their neural patterns are synchronizing. This isn't just emotion, it's a sophisticated biological feedback loop. As the day progressed, the research team observed dozens of human-dog interactions, but they kept returning to Maya and Atlas. They watched as the pair assisted lost children, deterred potential criminal activity with their mere presence, and helped elderly humans navigate crowded paths. Each interaction revealed new layers of complexity in their partnership. We may need to revise our understanding of intelligence, VZ891 suggested during the evening data review. These creatures, these dogs, they possess something our measurements cannot fully quantify. NX427 processed this with characteristic thoroughness. Elaborate. They demonstrate situational awareness, emotional intelligence, and decision-making capabilities that exceed their supposed cognitive limitations. Atlas isn't simply following commands, he's interpreting complex situations and making independent choices while maintaining perfect coordination with his human partner. The team's discussion was interrupted by a sudden alert from their perimeter sensors. Something was wrong in the park, something that would soon test their policy of non-interference and challenge everything they thought they knew about humans, dogs, and the profound bond between them. The annual Heritage Festival had transformed the city park into a maze of colorful tents, food stalls, and performance spaces. For the alien research team, it presented an unprecedented opportunity to observe human-canine interactions in a high-stress, crowded environment. They were particularly interested in how Maya and Atlas would handle the chaos. Fascinating, VZ891 transmitted to their colleagues as they watched Atlas navigate through the crowds. The canine maintains a perfect bubble of space around Officer Rodriguez without displaying any aggressive behavior. Indeed, Atlas moved like water through the festival, his body language subtle but clear enough that humans unconsciously adjusted their paths to maintain a comfortable distance. He remained focused despite the overwhelming sensory input, the sizzling food, the laughing children, the music from multiple stages. Their neural synchronization has increased by 23% since yesterday, another researcher, KX105, noted. The heightened environmental stress appears to strengthen their connection rather than strain it. Maya and Atlas have been assigned to festival security detail, patrolling the grounds for any signs of trouble. The alien observers had positioned themselves strategically throughout the area, their cloaking fields allowing them to study the pair from multiple angles. The first test of their partnership came when a group of teenagers decided to play an impromptu game of chase through the festival grounds. Atlas tracked their movement before Maya even noticed them, his ears swiveling to follow their progress. When one of the teens nearly collided with an elderly vendor stall, Atlas was already moving. The dog didn't bark or chase, he simply positioned himself at a crucial intersection of paths, his presence causing the teenagers to naturally slow and redirect their game to a more appropriate area. Maya, understanding her partner's intent without any verbal communication, used the moment to approach the group and guide them toward the festival's designated recreation area. Predictive behavior modification, NX427 observed. The canine assessed multiple potential outcomes and chose the intervention that required minimal force. The day progressed, and the festival grew more crowded. The research team's instruments detected rising stress levels in both humans and animals throughout the area, except for Atlas. The dog remained a point of calm in the chaos, his vital signs steady and controlled. Then came the incident that would challenge everything the aliens thought they understood about human-canine partnerships. It started with a power fluctuation at one of the main stages. The lights flickered, the music cut out, and in the momentary darkness, panic began to spread through the crowd. The alien researchers recorded everything as the situation deteriorated. Atlas's reaction was immediate but unexpected. Instead of focusing on crowd control, he suddenly turned his attention to a seemingly empty space behind the stage. Maya, trusting her partner's instincts without hesitation, followed his lead. Officer Rodriguez appears to be ignoring the primary threat of crowd panic, KX-105 noted with disapproval. This defies tactical logic. But Atlas knew something they didn't. As Maya followed him behind the stage, they discovered an unconscious technician next to an electrical panel. The man had been attempting to fix the power issue when he was electrocuted, and the secondary systems were beginning to short out, threatening a much larger catastrophe. Maya immediately called for emergency services, while Atlas stood guard, keeping others from approaching the dangerous area. The dog's body language communicated the threat more effectively than any warning sign could have, and his presence helped maintain a safe perimeter until electrical crews arrived. The canine detected the electrical anomaly and identified it as a greater threat than the crowd disturbance, VZ-891 realized. But how? Their sensory capabilities shouldn't allow for such sophisticated threat assessment. The situation grew more complex as the crowd's panic reached its peak. With the main stage shut down, people began pushing toward the exits. Atlas and Maya found themselves dealing with multiple challenges simultaneously, maintaining the safety perimeter around the electrical hazard while also helping to direct the crowd. What happened next left even the most skeptical alien researchers speechless. Atlas, without any command from Maya, began a series of behaviors that seemed random at first but soon revealed their purpose. He moved through the crowd in a specific pattern, his presence creating natural breakpoints that prevented the formation of dangerous bottlenecks. People unconsciously responded to his calm energy, their panic subsiding as they found themselves naturally organizing into more manageable groups. "This is impossible," NX-427 transmitted. The level of spatial awareness and crowd psychology required for such manipulation should be beyond their cognitive capabilities. Maya, understanding her partner's strategy, worked in perfect synchronization with him. Together, they transformed potential chaos into ordered movement, preventing injuries and allowing emergency services clear access to the stage area. "There's more at work here than simple training or instinct," VZ-891 insisted. "Look at their neural patterns during the crisis. The synchronization levels are off our charts. They're not operating as handler and animal, they're functioning as a single operational unit." As the situation stabilized and the crowd safely dispersed, the alien researchers found themselves grappling with data that contradicted their fundamental assumptions about intelligence and interspecies cooperation. Atlas had demonstrated not just problem-solving abilities but strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, and collaborative decision-making that their models couldn't explain. Maya knelt beside her partner once the emergency crews had taken control of the situation, pressing her forehead against his. Atlas maintained his professional demeanor for a moment before breaking into a happy pant, accepting her praise with dignity. "The bond serves a practical function we hadn't considered," VZ-891 transmitted to their colleagues. "It's not just emotional attachment, it's a force multiplier. Together, they achieve outcomes neither could accomplish alone." But their observations were far from complete. As the festival grounds cleared and evening approached, none of the alien researchers could have predicted how their understanding would be further challenged by the events about to unfold, events that would push the boundaries of their comprehension and force them to question everything they thought they knew about the relationship between humans and their canine companions. The morning after the festival brought ominous weather warnings. Dark clouds gathered over the city with unusual speed, and the atmospheric pressure dropped dramatically. The alien research team's instruments detected the approaching storm long before the local weather services issued their first alert. "This presents an unprecedented observation opportunity," NX-427 communicated to the team. "How will the human-canine pairs respond to environmental threats?" Maya and Atlas were already on high alert. The dog's behavior had shifted subtly since dawn, his ears constantly moving, his nose working overtime, his body language conveying a tension that Maya had learned to trust. She called into headquarters, reporting Atlas's unusual behavior and requesting early deployment of emergency response teams. "The human is making tactical decisions based on the canine's sensory input," KX-105 noted with surprise. Their command structure accepts this as valid intelligence. The storm hit with devastating force. Wind gusts reached dangerous speeds, transforming ordinary objects into projectiles. Rain fell in blinding sheets, and the city's drainage systems quickly became overwhelmed. The alien researchers watched as chaos erupted across their observation zone. Maya and Atlas were among the first emergency responders on the streets. The alien team split up to track multiple human-canine pairs, but kept their primary focus on this particular partnership that had so challenged their understanding. The first crisis came at a collapsed pedestrian bridge. The structure had given way under the combination of high winds and excessive water flow, trapping several humans in their vehicles. The situation appeared impossible, the wind was too strong for helicopter rescue, and the rising water made conventional approaches extremely dangerous. Atlas approached the edge of the broken bridge, his powerful nose working through the rain and wind. Maya watched him intently, reading his body language. The dog moved purposefully along the edge, then suddenly became very still, focusing on a specific point. "There's something here," Maya called to the rescue team. Atlas found a stable path. The dog had detected a partially submerged maintenance walkway, a narrow but solid route to reach the trapped civilians. Maya secured a safety line and followed Atlas's lead, the dog testing each step before allowing her to proceed. Together, they created a rescue corridor that other emergency responders could follow. The canine is simultaneously pathfinding, testing structural integrity, and maintaining protective oversight of its human partner. VZ-891 transmitted, their thought patterns showing signs of agitation. This level of multitasking and risk assessment. The rescue operation succeeded, but it was only the beginning. As the storm intensified, Maya and Atlas responded to one crisis after another. The alien researchers followed, their instruments recording everything while their understanding of human-canine capabilities underwent a radical transformation. At an evacuated apartment complex, Atlas detected a human heartbeat that the rescue team's equipment had missed, a child who had hidden in a maintenance closet out of fear. The dog not only located the child but helped keep them calm during the extraction, demonstrating an emotional intelligence that left the alien observers struggling to update their models. The canine adapts its behavior based on the emotional state of the humans it interacts with, KX-105 noted. This suggests a level of empathetic awareness we previously considered impossible in non-sapient species. The storm's fury peaked as darkness fell. Maya and Atlas found themselves in the city's old warehouse district, responding to reports of trapped workers. The area was particularly dangerous, old buildings, unstable ground, and rising flood waters created a deadly combination. What happened next would become a defining moment in the alien researchers' study. As Maya and Atlas searched the area, the dog suddenly stopped, his entire body language changing. Before Maya could process his warning, Atlas slammed into her, pushing her back just as a section of wall collapsed where she had been standing. Predictive threat analysis and instantaneous response, NX-427 transmitted. No command given. No training scenario could have prepared for this specific situation. But Atlas wasn't finished. After ensuring Maya was safe, he immediately began working the area again, his behavior indicating he had detected something crucial. Maya, despite her close call, trusted him completely and followed his lead. They found 3 workers trapped in a basement area that was rapidly flooding. The rescue that followed demonstrated a level of cooperation that transcended training. Atlas helped create a safe evacuation route, provided physical support where needed, and constantly monitored structural stability while Maya worked to free the trapped humans. The alien researchers' instruments recorded neural synchronization levels between human and canine that broke all previous records. Their effectiveness exponentially increases under stress, VZ-891 observed. The more challenging the situation, the stronger their connection becomes. This defies our understanding of interspecies relationships. As the storm began to subside, the alien team gathered to process their observations. The data they had collected would take years to fully analyze, but one thing was already clear: they had grossly underestimated the complexity and significance of human-canine partnerships. Maya and Atlas finally took a break in the emergency command center, both exhausted but still alert. The dog lay pressed against Maya's leg, his eyes constantly scanning their surroundings even as he rested. Maya absently stroked his fur, her other hand reviewing reports on her tablet. "We've been approaching this all wrong," VZ-891 transmitted to their colleagues. "We've been trying to understand this relationship through our own cultural framework of hierarchy and utility. But what we're seeing here is something else entirely, a genuine partnership of equals, each bringing unique capabilities to create something greater than the sum of its parts." The storm had passed, but its impact on the alien researchers' understanding was just beginning to be felt. As they prepared for their next phase of observation, none of them realized that the most profound demonstration of human-canine cooperation was yet to come, a demonstration that would challenge not just their scientific understanding, but their entire civilization's view of intelligence, consciousness, and the nature of bonds between species. In the days following the storm, the Centauri research team found themselves grappling with more than just data analysis. Their observations of Maya and Atlas, along with other human-canine pairs, had begun to affect them on a deeper level, one that their strictly rational society had never prepared them for. VZ-891 stood invisibly in the police station's break room, watching Maya and Atlas during a quiet moment between shifts. The dog lay at Maya's feet as she completed paperwork, but his relaxed posture was deceptive. Every few minutes, his eyes would open to scan the room before settling back into his rest. Even in moments of apparent peace, the partnership never truly ceased. "You're obsessing over them again," KX-105 transmitted, joining their colleague. "The Council expects objective analysis, not, whatever this is becoming. Objectivity requires us to acknowledge all aspects of what we observe," VZ-891 responded. "Including those that challenge our fundamental assumptions." Their discussion was interrupted by a new arrival, another officer entering the break room with his own canine partner. Atlas raised his head, acknowledging his fellow dog with a subtle tail movement. The two humans exchanged tired smiles. "Rough shift?" Maya asked, looking up from her work. "Triple homicide scene," the other officer replied quietly. "Rex here found crucial evidence, but..." He trailed off, his hand absently stroking his dog's head. Rex pressed closer to his partner, offering silent support. The alien researchers' instruments detected synchronized changes in the stress hormone levels of both humans and dogs. The canines were actively working to calm their partners, while the humans' touch provided similar biochemical benefits to the dogs. A reciprocal emotional support system, NX-427 noted, joining the observation. But look deeper at the neural patterns. The dogs aren't simply responding to human distress, they're actively engaging in emotional regulation of their own. This revelation sparked an intense debate among the research team. Their civilization had always treated emotion as a primitive evolutionary remnant, something to be controlled and ultimately transcended. Yet here they were, watching supposedly lesser beings demonstrate sophisticated emotional intelligence that enhanced rather than hindered their effectiveness. The next several days brought more challenges to their preconceptions. They observed Maya and Atlas conducting investigations, their seamless cooperation yielding results that neither could have achieved alone. Atlas's sensory capabilities combined with Maya's analytical skills created something their society would have considered impossible, a true meeting of different types of intelligence. During one particularly memorable case, Atlas helped track down a missing child by following a scent trail that was several days old. But it was more than just his powerful nose that proved crucial. The dog demonstrated remarkable problem-solving skills, working around contaminated areas and using environmental factors to maintain the trail. "He's not just following a scent," VZ-891 transmitted to their colleagues. "He's creating and testing hypotheses, adapting his strategy based on changing conditions." This is advanced cognitive processing. You sound almost admiring, KX-105 observed, their thought patterns showing concern. Perhaps admiration is warranted, VZ-891 replied. Our society's definition of intelligence is based on our own capabilities. We've never considered that other forms of consciousness might be equally valid, just different. The research team's reports back to the Centauri Science Academy became increasingly complex. How could they explain that what they had initially dismissed as simple conditioning was actually a sophisticated partnership between two different but complementary forms of intelligence? How could they convey the significance of emotional bonds to a society that had systematically eliminated them? Their breakthrough in understanding came from an unexpected source. During a routine patrol, Maya and Atlas encountered a group of children who asked to pet the dog. With Maya's permission, Atlas transformed from alert working dog to gentle companion, carefully moderating his behavior for each child's comfort level. Look at his cognitive processing, NX-427 transmitted. He's simultaneously maintaining environmental awareness, assessing each child's body language, adjusting his own responses, and maintaining his bond with Officer Rodriguez. Our most advanced AI systems couldn't manage this level of social computation. The alien researchers watched as Atlas demonstrated different behaviors for each child, being extra gentle with the shy ones, more playful with the confident ones, always keeping one eye on Maya and responding instantly to subtle cues from her that the human children didn't even notice. We've been asking the wrong questions, VZ-891 realized. We wanted to understand why humans form emotional bonds with lesser creatures. But these aren't lesser creatures at all. They're different beings with their own form of intelligence, one that complements and enhances human capabilities. As if to underscore this revelation, they witnessed Atlas suddenly shift from friendly interaction with the children back to working mode. His body language changed subtly, and Maya immediately picked up on it. Within moments, they had identified and deterred a potential threat, a suspicious individual who had been watching the children. The bond itself is a form of intelligence, VZ-891 transmitted. It's not just emotional attachment or trained responses. It's a complex system of mutual understanding and cooperation that creates capabilities neither species could achieve alone. This understanding led to intense philosophical discussions among the research team. Their society had spent millennia pursuing pure logic and mechanical efficiency, seeing emotion and interspecies cooperation as primitive traits to be overcome. But what if they had been wrong? What if there were forms of intelligence and consciousness that couldn't be measured by their traditional metrics? As they prepared their preliminary findings for the Academy, the alien researchers knew their report would be controversial. They were challenging not just scientific assumptions but cultural ones, suggesting that their civilization's path of pure logic might have led them to miss crucial aspects of consciousness and intelligence. But their most profound realization was yet to come. As they watched Maya and Atlas head out for another patrol, VZ-891 couldn't help but wonder, had their civilization's dismissal of emotional bonds and interspecies cooperation actually limited their potential rather than enhanced it? The answer to that question would come sooner than any of them expected, and in a way that would forever change not just their understanding, but their entire civilization's approach to consciousness, intelligence, and the power of bonds between different species. The moment that would forever change the Centauri researchers' understanding began with a malfunction. Their cloaking technology, stable for weeks, began to fail due to unexpected interference from a nearby experimental physics laboratory. The timing couldn't have been worse. They were following Maya and Atlas on what should have been a routine patrol near the facility. Emergency protocols initiated, NX-427 transmitted as their cloaking fields flickered. Prepare for immediate extraction. But before they could activate their emergency transporters, alarms blared from the physics lab. The facility's quantum containment system was destabilizing, creating cascading waves of energy that interfered with all nearby technology, including both their cloaking and transport systems. "We're visible," KX-105 realized with horror. Their crystalline forms now stood exposed in the middle of the street, their alien nature unmistakable. Atlas saw them first. The dog's reaction surprised them. Instead of aggression or fear, he displayed intense focus and curiosity. Maya, following her partner's gaze, froze for just a moment before her training kicked in. "This is Officer Rodriguez requesting immediate backup at Palmer Street," she spoke into her radio, her voice steady. "We have a situation involving unexpected visitors." The alien researchers found themselves in an unprecedented position, directly interacting with their research subjects. But there was no time to process this breach of protocol. The physics lab's alarms were growing more urgent, and their instruments detected a building catastrophic reaction. "The containment field is failing," VZ-891 transmitted. "The resulting quantum cascade could devastate this entire sector." Maya, watching their crystalline forms pulse with agitated patterns, seemed to understand something was wrong. "You can sense what's happening in there, can't you?" NX-427 made a decision that would violate every research protocol they had. "Yes. The facility's experimental quantum drive is destabilizing. Our technology is being affected. We cannot transport to safety, and we cannot help contain the reaction." Atlas's behavior changed the moment the word safety was mentioned. The dog's entire demeanor shifted into working mode, but not with aggression, rather with the same focused intensity they had observed when he was protecting humans. "He's categorized us as potential victims requiring assistance," VZ-891 realized with astonishment. Maya quickly took charge of the situation. "I don't fully understand what's happening, but if there's danger to civilians, we need to act. Can you communicate what needs to be done?" The next few minutes demonstrated everything the aliens had learned about human-canine partnerships, but from a perspective they never expected, as beneficiaries rather than observers. Maya and Atlas worked seamlessly to help evacuate the area, with the dog's presence helping to prevent panic when more humans noticed the alien researchers. Atlas seemed to instinctively understand that the crystalline beings were non-threatening, and his calm demeanor helped others accept the situation. "The quantum cascade is accelerating," KX-105 warned. "We have minutes before catastrophic failure." Maya consulted briefly with the facility's scientists who had emerged from the building. "The manual shutdown controls are inside, but the radiation levels." Atlas barked once, sharp and clear. Maya looked at her partner, then at the aliens, then back at Atlas. A whole conversation seemed to pass between human and dog in that moment. "He wants to help," Maya said to the researchers. "Can you tell him what to look for?" The aliens hesitated. "The shutdown sequence requires precise manipulation of 3 control rods," NX-427 explained. "But the radiation levels are too dangerous for human exposure." "Atlas has a better chance than any of us," Maya said. "Show him what needs to be done." What followed challenged everything the alien researchers thought they knew about intelligence and communication. Using a combination of projected images and Maya's guidance, they explained the shutdown sequence to Atlas. The dog listened with an intensity that seemed to transcend normal animal comprehension. "This is impossible," KX-105 transmitted. "The complexity of the task." But Atlas was already moving. Maya removed his service vest, knowing he would need maximum mobility, and the dog entered the facility through an emergency access point. The alien's instruments tracked his progress, while Maya maintained verbal contact through her radio's earpiece. "The canine is following the exact sequence," VZ-891 transmitted with disbelief. "He's not just remembering the steps, he's adapting to conditions we didn't anticipate." Atlas navigated the facility with remarkable precision, using his sense of smell to avoid the highest radiation areas. When he reached the control room, he executed the shutdown sequence exactly as shown, using his mouth and paws with unexpected dexterity. The quantum cascade began to stabilize. As emergency teams arrived at the scene, Atlas emerged from the building and immediately went to Maya for a quick check-in before turning his attention back to the alien researchers. "We owe you our lives," NX-427 communicated to both Maya and Atlas. "Our understanding was incomplete." In the aftermath, as government officials worked to handle the diplomatic implications of first contact, the research team found themselves revising everything they thought they knew. They had come to study what they thought was a simple attachment between humans and animals. Instead, they had discovered something far more profound. Perhaps, VZ-891 transmitted during their final observation log, intelligence isn't about processing power or logical capability. Perhaps it's about the ability to form connections, to understand and communicate across boundaries we thought were uncrossable. These dogs, these remarkable beings, haven't just learned to work with humans, they've learned to bridge the gap between species, to create something greater than either could achieve alone. As they prepared to depart, now openly and with their research officially sanctioned, they watched Maya and Atlas return to their patrol. The dog walked with his usual alert grace, while Maya rested her hand lightly on his head. It was a simple gesture, but the aliens now understood its true significance, a symbol of a partnership that had evolved beyond mere utility into something that their own civilization had forgotten was possible. The Centauri Science Academy would need to revise more than just their understanding of Earth species. They would need to reconsider their entire approach to intelligence, consciousness, and the power of bonds between different beings. And it had taken a dog, a human, and a moment of crisis to teach them this most profound lesson.